This product was sent for review. All opinions are my own, and this video has not been shared with GameSir ahead of it being released. Starting with the color scheme inspired after the lavender to the SXL, and I'm digging it. Video doesn't do it justice. The colors pop and it is very pretty. ABXY is presented in standard Xbox layout, you know, where A is down and B is right. You'll find no membrane buttons, all tactile except of course the Hall sensor sticks and triggers and bumpers that are on mechanical switches. Have a listen. Back to the sticks, they are too small for my likings. The good news is they included cap sleeves, which I will now install and keep for the rest of this video. I'm impressed with those caps. They feel very nice. They fit very tight as they don't move and don't rotate. They give you two concave ones, which I prefer, but also two convex ones, and they match the aesthetics. They also now use Hall effect sensors for superior readings, both for the analogs and triggers. And much like other GameSir products, they calibrate in factory, so you know it's good stuff. But nonetheless, we have an onboard calibrating solution, an amazing feature that we'll cover by the end of this video. The Hall effect L2 and R2 are analogs for your usual gradual readings, especially useful if you play racing games, but they do occasionally have purposes in other types of games. Sony often uses them, as they have in Ratchet and Clank and Returnal, to name a few. As for function buttons, you'll find the Select Start, which GameSir marks with G and S respectively, as well as a Capture and Home button, which will both also be used for extra features combinations such as turbo, amongst a few more. The signature swivel connector returns, which provides robust connections and sometimes even the only connection to support some bulkier devices. It is back to being on the left side of the device, offering compatibility for folding phones. Cases up to 1mm thick are officially supported, and my Fold 4, using Samsung's official case, works just fine. Put it in, give it a little compression, and voila, you have a solid connection that won't come undone. The telescopic mechanism can stretch to support phones up to 168mm, which makes it compatible with just about every USB-C phone out there. But the connector does also make inserting a phone that's closer to the limit a smoother process as well. This beautiful controller has a physical Easter egg, something you don't see every day. This is achievable intentionally and by design to unleash a tablet compatible mode, much like what this video is about. But unlike the Galileo G8 after the mod, you don't need to butcher your controller, and also the springs here won't support the largest tablets. I did my due diligence by vetting the following information with GameSir. You should do this mod at your own risk, as this could impact the warranty if you were to physically damage the product, hence why they do not list it as a feature, despite intentionally having it as an Easter egg. For example, my Tab S8 Ultra fits the modded G8, unlike the modded X2s. I measured approximately 330mm wide and 270mm wide respectively. One more thing I'd like to stretch a bit further is your desire to hit that like and subscribe button. As always, your support is greatly appreciated, and I am thankful that you have made it this far. Back configurable paddles have been removed versus some previous models, but the dotted rubber ergonomic grips remains for added comfort and control. It is for all intents and purposes a wired controller, so there are no antennas and no battery. You can still charge your phone while playing by using this USB-C connector that sits at the bottom left of the device, having moved from the bottom right where it was on the X2 Pro. The USB-C port exclusively supports charging and does not carry data. But if you were to supply your own USB-C female to male cable, you can use this controller on your PC. Being that it is a USB-C connector, this controller is perfectly compatible with Android devices, but also Apple ones that sports the USB-C connector, such as iPhones or iPads that can fit. Another changed aspect over the X2 Pro is the D-pad, and what an improvement it is. Just as the new one, the previous model used tactile switches, but they don't feel exactly the same. They feel better, they're also more silent. I still find the corners to be a bit too sharp for my liking, but because they recessed it in the case a bit more, that also makes using it a bit more pleasant as well. This change also applies to face buttons, which are smaller in size but also more recessed, and the switches do sound and feel different. From where I stand, every button have been improved for the better. Wait, that's an oxymoron, right? Using Gamepad Tester, I invite you all to rejoice at the fact that this controller has zero snapping to cardinals, and thanks to Hall effect sensors found in the sticks, the readings are pretty much flawless. Same goes for the travel distance of the triggers. All four feel very good, but at that point, I am more concerned about compatibility, as when going on Gamepad Tester, the controller lists as GameSir's vendor and device ID, which would imply that there is no spoofing. Another example here is Minecraft. If plugging a DualSense controller, you see PlayStation buttons. Third-party controllers have generic, non-identified buttons, which is the case for GameSir, yet the controller works just fine on the native Remote Play app. So I guess compatibility is as good as it gets. As long as you are on the white LED mode, which you can cycle through by holding G and S, this goes to show that GameSir really have brilliant engineering beneath the plastic that serves as your game controller. We've now established that for almost $40 less, the controller minus the paddles is a superior product to the X2 Pro. When compared to the Kishi V2, the GameSir X2s is on every aspect a superior controller. It has better sticks, better buttons, better feel, better telescopic mechanism. It's better at everything and is less expensive. When compared to the Kishi V2 Pro, it comes down to how important that 3.5mm jack is, because this one doesn't have any. And Razer's controller also has haptic motors and the controller itself, which as of Android 12 and up, Google have now natively added the feature. I believe it remains the only telescopic controller at this point in time to offer rumble, but the support is still very lacking, versus the Backbone one now. Much like the original X2, there was a moment in time where it was the best controller on the market. Nowadays, it is the best marketed controller. Big difference. Yet it remains a very solid solution that I consider now beat by the X2s, except for a 3.5mm jack and another aspect that is subjective, the ergonomics. By having slight grips, the Backbone one can feel more comfortable to some people, I included, but I'd say it's not substantial enough to make me favorite over GameSir's new controller. Last but not least, versus the Galileo G8 is where a definitive line is drawn. The G8 is the better product and is at this point in time the absolute best telescopic mobile controller, but the X2s will be better suited for people who want a lower profile or lower footprint. It's lighter and more compact as well. The Galileo completely shattered what comfort means for mobile gaming solutions. It's that good, but I'm more than comfortable in saying that the X2s is without a doubt the next product in line on that pedestal, now pushing the Backbone one to the third position. What remains extremely impressive, mind you, is that the X2s manages to close the gap by so much for what is effectively another $34 less than the G8. The X2s retails for $46 whereas the G8 retails for $80. That's almost half the price, and rest assured it is not half the quality. In actuality, it's much closer than I even expected. As for the cons, since we didn't address any, the only small gripe I have with GameSir's latest controller is that I find when using a cap sleeve on the right analog that the sticks can be in the way of face buttons. Not game breaking or anything, just a tad fatiguing. With the sleeves removed, it's pretty much a problem now solved. To conclude, I do have a special place in my heart for the G8. I understand all too well that we don't all love the same things, but let me make this one thing clear. If the Galileo G8 did not exist, this would be my new favorite controller. So if you wish to order it, the link is in the description where you can browse this product and many more that I review here on this channel. But hey, don't take my word for it, or actually do and watch my G8 review right there.